Hi, welcome to Monday Night in the Kitchen, or try something new. Tonight, Lee Negrelli of Wild Sport is going to make lentil tacos. If you haven't had them on the truck, you should do that. But you should also make them at home because they're way less expensive than meat tacos. They taste better, and it's something else to do with lentils besides soup.
All right. Okay, so we have cooked our lentils already, so you didn't have to stand here and watch our pot boil. So if you're not familiar with lentils, they are a legume. Can you hold that bag? Thank you. So they look like this. You'll find them in the grocery store by the other dried beans and whatnot. It's a pound. This is a 1 pound bag. It probably costs like 90 cents or so.
If that.
Yeah. So if you cook an entire pound of lentils, you will have enough to make about 35 tacos. So a little bit goes a long way. So I know if you're making ground beef tacos, you're not making 30 of them for $1 worth of beef. We are. So to cook them, it'll tell you on the package, put them in boiling water. Start checking them at about 10 minutes. They usually take about 12 minutes or so to get tender. If you cook them too long, they will get mushy, so keep an eye on them. I can strain this into your right.
I don't know. We've never done this.
Do you want me not to?
Well, no.
It's hooked up to the jar.
Okay.
This is our first time using the sink in this little kitchen setup. So, first time straining, here we go. If it's a disaster, we'll delete the video.
If it's the last disaster, you'll learn words you never knew I knew.
Okay, so we've strained our lentils. They're cooked, they're tender, they're ready to go. And we're just going to put them right back into the pot that they were in. And then we have taco seasoning. I very rarely use store-bought seasoning, but I'm going to today. So if you make taco seasoning at home, it's chili powder, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and then this is an important ingredient that most people forget, a little bit of cornstarch, because the cornstarch, when you mix it with the liquid, is going to make your seasoning kind of saucy and really stick to the lentils. So this packet is for a pound of meat. We probably have maybe about a pound of cooked lentils, you think, in there?
Sure.
But anyways, I'm going to use half the packet at first, stir it in, and see how it looks. And most of your store-bought seasonings will have a starch probably already in them. So if you use a store-bought seasoning, you don't have to add that.
Cooking tip number 1. Add less when you start. Because
Yes.
you can always add more. You
Can't
cannot
take it away.
remove it.
Yes.
I've tried.
Okay, so that looks pretty good, and that's seriously it. Cook the lentils, add the seasoning. We're gonna make some salsa, so this isn't the most boring video in the world. Before we assemble, I got one. Okay, so salsa is really easy to make. I'm gonna use some Roma tomatoes. They have a little bit of where the stem was connected, so we're just gonna cut that out. It's like I said, it's really small. A lot of people will just hack off the whole top of their tomato, but then you lose a lot of usable stuff when really that tiny thing is the only thing we don't want to eat. So just kind of notch it out, and then chop them up. I like Romas for salsa because they have less seeds in them. They're a little bit less watery, I guess. But you can use any kind of tomatoes that you want. I'm gonna put them in our bowl, our Tupperware container, and then so you can get fancy. I brought an onion. So for our salsa, I'm gonna do tomatoes, onions, a jalapeno, garlic, cilantro, So for the onion, I'm only going to use half of it. I'm making a really small batch of salsa right now just so you can kind of see how to make it. So I cut the onion in half. So we have a root side and a top side. We're going to cut both of those sides off, and that will give us a good starting point to peel the skin off. And then we're going to go with the grain. If you see the layers in the onion, we're going to cut along those same lines. And then once we've done that, we're going to turn the onion and then go across it to give ourselves little onion dices. Then into the bowl. I'm going to add more tomatoes probably at some point, but I just don't want you to watch me chop 4 tomatoes. For the jalapenos, cut the whole thing in half. If you like it spicy, chop the whole thing. If you don't, most of the heat is going to be in the seeds and inside the white vein. So we're gonna cut off the top where the stem was, and then you can see the green jalapeno, kind of the half circle, and then the rest of it we want to take out. So we're gonna run the knife along the edge, right on the inside where that vein connects. We're gonna do that on both sides. There's usually 3 points of contact. It's going to be on each edge and then at the very bottom. So we can run our knife below that, pull out the whole thing, and this is where most of your heat's going to be. So then we have a bare naked jalapeno half that we're just going to cut into thin strips. And the same thing like we did the other onion, turn it sideways so we can get tiny little jalapeno bits. Into the bowl. Same thing with cilantro. If you are one of those people that thinks cilantro tastes like soap, I'm sorry. If you don't think it tastes like soap, just chop up as much as you want. It doesn't have to be a specific amount. I always think for salsa and guacamole, more cilantro, more salt, and more lime juice than you think you need is always a good recipe for success with those things. All right, chopped. And now you get to learn how to chop garlic. So 1 clove of garlic. Again, garlic is like an onion. It has a hard bottom side, like where the root was, and then it has the top where the fronds, the scapes grow out. So we're going to cut off the bottom, get the skin off. If you can't get the skin off, we're just going to smash it. So put it down flat, face your knife blade away from you, and then with the heel of your hand, press down carefully, and it'll break up that skin and it'll come right off. So when we're chopping the garlic, just go through and do some rough chops first, and then as the pieces get smaller, hold your hand on top of the blade and just rock it back and forth over the garlic, and then it'll take you a few tries to kind of gather it all together, pull it off your knife, and then just keep going until you get it into as small pieces as you like. Now for limes, if you get a lime that's like super hard, I've heard that you can put it in the microwave for a few seconds to loosen up the juices. I've not tried that. But if you roll it on the countertop, press it down pretty firmly and get those juices flowing. And then we're just going to cut it in half and squeeze in the juice. Okay. And then a little salt, a little more salt. And there we go. That's a mess, but that's salsa. And so the longer that this sits, the better it's going to taste. All the flavors are going to melt together. The salt is going to bring out some moisture in the tomatoes and the onions, and it'll kind of all meld together and be a really cohesive dish. So for the tacos, we're going to just put the tortilla in a skillet real quick, and that'll heat them up. And that step is totally optional, but it will bring out some flavor if you get a little bit of browning on the tortilla, and also it'll be warm, and that's better. If you use hard taco shells, put them in the oven before you eat them if you have an oven. It makes them so much better. I found out at some point in my life that there's people that eat taco shells right out of the box, and they're just not that good. So make them crispy, put them in the oven. If you bake them upside down, they won't shrink. You know, if you lay them on their sides, they have a tendency they get warm and they collapse and they're hard to reopen. Turn them upside down, like pretend this is a taco shell. Put them like this and bake them on their open edge. Yes, there you go. Bake them like that. That's a much better example of a taco shell. So bake them like that. They only take a few minutes and they'll be extra crunchy and awesome. So once our tortilla is warm, we've got other
plates.
We need plates, kind of. Tacos are kind of in their own plate already. So we've got some other stuff to add, so I'll chop up some toppings. So avocados, there's a couple ways you can cut them. So let's say you've got the stem side at the top. We're gonna go through the stem. Once you put your knife in, you'll feel the pit. There's a giant seed in the center of an avocado. Just carefully go around the edge of that, and then twist it. It'll pop right open. If you're only gonna use half of the avocado, don't take the pit out. Leave the seed in. There's a million ways people try to preserve avocados. The easiest way is to just do nothing. Let it sit right out on the counter like this, especially if it has a nice tight seal around the pit. It'll stay fresh. When you're ready to use it, take the pit out, and then you'll have a little bit of like a tough skin almost on the cut edge. Just cut that off, and then everything below it is going to be a perfectly fresh avocado. So the side we're going to use, I'm just going to go in and score it. So I'm going to go to the skin, not through the skin. And then when I go in with a spoon and scoop this out, I'm pretending we have a spoon here. We will have a spoon here. It's going to be already sliced and ready to go for us. All right, so our tortilla is getting warm. If you are on the low carb thing, you don't want a tortilla, just build yourself a taco inside a lettuce leaf. You can skip all the floury goodness of that and go with the lettuce. It's low carb, lower calories, and super fresh and delicious as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we've got our scored avocado. Scoop out the whole thing.
Put it on Kathy's plate.
Put it on Kathy's plate. There you go. It's already sliced and ready for you. Okay, so we're ready to plate up the tacos. We're going to put some filling into our warm shell. We're going to heat up the next shells. I'm going to chop some lettuce. Okay, so build the taco. Let's go with lettuce, salsa, avocado, and there you go. This is a super cheap, super affordable, super healthy meal, and it's ready in 20 minutes or less. Thanks.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Dinner.
See you next time.